With her memoir, Fallosophy, Ardra Shephard wants to take the edge off having multiple sclerosis. She describes the book as a screw you to MS and a refusal to be defined by whatever the world thinks disability is supposed to be. And we're so happy that she joins us from Toronto this morning. Great to see you here. I know it's tough for you to be here because after reading your book, I know what a morning routine you have because of MS.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for accommodating me virtually. It really does help. Yeah, I am not a morning person.
No, no, and we'll get more into that in a moment. But this is actually the second time we've had you on the show because you joined us a few months back when you were part of Fashion Dis, which is a great series.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so proud of that show. It's a show that I created and hosted with AMI TV. I think the world's first show that features people with disabilities. We also talked about adaptive and inclusive fashion brands. It's really a passion of mine, changing attitudes and increasing visibility of people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm. And you really increased your visibility and actually in the world of social media, recognition of what MS is to so many different people through your blog, Tripping on Air, through your Instagram posts there. Tell me about how that kind of came to be.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think for me, it was really important to increase that kind of visibility, particularly for people with MS. It is May in Canada is MS Awareness Month. And for me, I struggled to find the stories that would make sense to me, that would help me make sense of my illness for so long. And so when I started blogging, that was like 2015, 10 years now, it was really about putting the kind of narratives and stories out there that I needed when I was first diagnosed and still need, just to kind of like make sense of what this life is like.
Mm-hmm. Because as you describe in the book, Fallosophy, when you first were diagnosed, you went to a support group and realized, okay, these aren't my people necessarily.
They weren't my people at the time. And I think one thing that is, confusing about MS is it's such a spectrum of a disease. And I think I say in the book, like, the needs of the newly diagnosed are not the same as those of us who, now I'm in this other cohort having had the disease for 20 years. So I have acquired some disability and I need a different kind of support now than I needed in the beginning. And so finding myself in a room with people who had decades more experience and had accumulated disability was a really scary thing for me at the time. It wasn't exactly the support that I needed then. Mm-hmm.
You were first diagnosed, you were living in Westdale, in a neighborhood in Hamilton.
I was a Hamilton girl, yeah.
That's awesome. So there's so much in there that happened, and so much diagnosis was done in Hamilton as well.
Yeah, I was treated at McMaster. I have very good care there. I still have a physiatrist in Hamilton who is one of the best doctors I've ever seen. So I was lucky. It can be tricky to diagnose. A lot of patients wait a long time to get a diagnosis, but I was one of the fortunate patients to get diagnosed very quickly, which is so important when we're talking about MS, because early treatment is really crucial to long-term positive outcomes.
Mm-hmm. And what has happened? So much has happened in treatment over the 20 years that you've had the disease even. What was brand new when you were first diagnosed is now kind of old hat.
There were 4 medications available when I was diagnosed, and now there are over 20. So we have come a long way, particularly in treating relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. My MS now is what we would call secondary progressive. And so there is still a large unmet treatment need for progressive MS. So don't stop making your donations. Again, it's MS Awareness Month. We still have work to do. This disease affects so many Canadians. We sometimes call it Canada's disease because it is so common in this country, and it affects a lot of young people. It tends to strike, you know, in that prime of life between the ages of 20 and 40.
Mm-hmm. And is it wrong to say how much I loved how funny your book was?
No, please. I will never get tired of hearing that.
Like, I snorted in some. You make light of things, but then you also, it's just so real. Like, it's just like an open book, literally, of what things are. Like, one of the examples is how you named your catheter Kathy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't probably use the language that I would call her on morning television, but I think I'm so glad you laughed. Thank you so much. That means so much. I mean, this is a book about MS, but it's always exciting for me to hear from people who don't have MS that find the stories about living in bodies relatable and funny and absurd. I think it's how we make sense of life.
Okay, I'm really, really glad you wrote this, and recommend Fallosophy to anyone, because it's a great way of how to react to disease as well, and lots of lessons learned. And Ardra, just an absolute pleasure to talk with you, and I hope you're writing again, because I really do enjoy your writing. So Fallosophy by Ardra Shephard is out in bookstores now.